I think you probably feel that defence spending should increase, but you're not convinced it should come from where it's coming.
Or rather, I am convinced it shouldn't be coming from where the government have allocated it from. Labour talk about being clear-eyed. Well, they should take those clear eyes and look into the eyes of the most vulnerable in the global society as they've taken away the last shred of dignity and potentially life-saving medicine or food and say, sorry, you're on your own now. That's what's at stake here. So, of course, defence spending should be rising to 2.5%. That was a Labour Party manifesto commitment on page 13, I recall. I think most voters will be disappointed that it's taken 3 years for that to happen, and the commitment to 3% will be potentially 10 years after the Labour Party won power last year. So where I do agree with the Labour Party and with Chris is that we are in a much more hostile environment than many people realise. That's not scaremongering. The facts are out there. This is a very contested space. There are autocracies who are intent on destroying the way that we choose to live our lives with democracy, freedom and the rule of law. We have, perhaps understandably, collectively as a society, slipped into taking that a little bit for granted, but there are forces in play in the global system just now who are determined to remind us that this is not an inevitability.
If it doesn't come from the aid budget, where should it come from?
Well, the UK has a budget of £1.1 trillion that it spends annually. And so I'm not convinced that taking from the poorest in society is where they should find this money from. So I would like to see a much more rigorous taxation of the gambling sector. I'd like to see a much more rigorous taxation of e-commerce and online to make sure that people are paying a fair way. And also, you know, at the end of the day, if you're talking about life or death situations for people who now no longer will be supported, it's time for the Labour Party to admit that they got their fiscal rules wrong and they're going to have to revise them.